All right, we're back. XG Files. Stephen Howson, Ronaldo Brown.
I was about to say we don't have an intro still, but we do.
Yeah, we do.
There's no introductive comment, no.
Listen, end of the season, this ain't going to be here no more. It's going on Patreon.
Is it?
Yep.
News to me.
It's not. I spoke about it yesterday, but...
Do you know what? Before we talk about that, I want to get it right, because I have a lot to say about yesterday. I got a lot of grief on Twitter, by the way, for some of my tweets.
Was it because of something you said about Malacia?
Yes.
I didn't necessarily disagree, but I could just, like, so I got so many replies to me because I used a photograph of Maguire, like, the club captain who's just scored an own goal. Apparently you're not allowed to use him because that's an agenda.
I don't think you didn't really say anything, did you?
No.
About him. You just put a picture, but
Agenda!
Listen, it's agenda. I said something about Malacia that I've said throughout, because everyone was commenting saying, you're being reactionary, you're overreacting. I said, it's not reaction, because I've said this about him all season. I've never ever truly fancied Malacia that much all season. I see a player who, he's 23, not 19, people need to forget that. And I think his maximum is a backup. At the very best.
But that's all right.
But I think you could even get a better backup than him. In my opinion, I think there's a little bit of that kind of underdog psychosis where he's only 12 million and people kind of propping up. But I feel like he's a massive dip from Shaw. And Shaw is a player that even some United fans still criticise. Do you know what I mean? So
he's been so much better this season than probably ever, actually.
Yeah, exactly. But I just feel like he's a little bit. He offers. I don't think I've seen him offer anything going forward as a fullback, as a young, meant to be progressive fullback. I don't think I've seen him complete maybe more than one cross all season.
It doesn't penetrate the side of the box, really.
Exactly, and that's the worst thing. I don't really see him overlap. I don't see him cross very well. Defensively, I think he's rash, but sometimes gets away with it. I think he's a little bit overrated 1v1 defensively. I've seen I went to the United Everton game a few months ago, and I think Demarai Gray gave him an absolute hiding.
I think Demarai Gray's one of those that can 1v1 give you a bit of drama.
He is. I think Demarai Gray is very, very. He's got talent to burn. I'm not disputing that, but I just think he has like a bit of a lower expectation level from fans, where people kind of prop up average stuff he does and then kind of disregard negative stuff he does. In my opinion, I just think Malacia is exactly what it says on the tin, £12 million fullback, who probably that's the highest his value should be. I think another thing with him is ball progression wise, he makes me nervous on the ball. When he receives it, he always looks like he's not quite sure where he's going next, and it's a bit of and I think he's very nervy.
All right.
He's very jittery on the ball.
I'll say is he's in defence of him, just to play devil's advocate, we've had Anthony this season, who's been a really slow starter. He's been given way more opportunities than Malacia. He's up against essentially no one for that right wing spot.
Okay.
And it's took him until this part of the season for us to start seeing the flashes of why we paid for him. And yeah, the fee was different.
Yeah.
But I think you've got to allow Malacia the opportunity to settle in and see what comes of him. Let's see how he is on the back end of a full pre-season. After he's had a whole season where we can analyse what he's done, the coaches can sit down with him, and then he can try and focus on improving some parts. I don't think any player's ever the finished article.
This is what I mean. David Cook says, bro, he's a teenager. People think he's a teenager. He's 23 and he turns 24 by the season starts next season. He is not a young young player. Do you know what I mean? I think his ceiling's really low.
Just get the super chat out. Arsenal won't be anywhere near the top 2 next season, you said on 5. Horrendous take. Your mind telling you what you want to hear. Thanks for your super chat. Brandon says, Ethan Laird play on the left. Anyone know if he has? Yeah. Ethan, when they were 16, was the club's leading scorer until a certain Mason Greenwood overtook him towards the end of the season. I think Mason's a year younger. Ethan was the leading scorer in the team as a left back. He was doing the Marcelo thing. He was kind of coming in onto his right foot and unloading.
Yeah, he's even a baller, but I'm pretty much... Yeah, but I'm certain... This is the problem, because playing for Percy and for United is a different level. And I think playing fullback's becoming even more difficult for top teams when you've got this whole like 3 at the back build up. You've got fullbacks having to invert and then be out wide. I think they're asking a lot more of not even just centre halves, but fullbacks nowadays. So I think that the level you need to be is even higher. Do you know what I mean?
You agree with what they were saying on BT on Tuesday night in the City Bayern game? Did you watch it? They were talking about defending.
Yes.
And they were talking about the art of 1v1 defending. Yeah. And actually the City defenders, considering that is... The stereotype is that they're excellent in possession, but maybe lack a little bit of physicality, lack a little bit of the technical defending. But that wasn't the case against Bayern Munich. They were excellent. They were excellent in a technical defending kind of sense. And the commentary team and that were talking about their 1v1 defending skills. I think the game has evolved in a mad way, where there's almost been an overemphasis on this, and there has been a complete lack of the defending. The whole Carragher thing about Van Dijk versus Vidic, which was such a mad missile that he sent, and we clocked what he did, by the way. He was like, let's not talk about Liverpool shitting the bed. Let's create an argument, which has lasted over a week. He
has said another tweet as well, because obviously with the Malacia thing as well, I would say he's basically everything that people criticise Wan-Bissaka for being. But Wan-Bissaka's even better 1v1 defender than him. But anyway, I was also talking about Jamie Carragher tweeted something a couple of days ago, maybe a day ago, where he said with 8 games to go, Varane and Martinez have already conceded more Premier League goals than Maguire and Lindelof did in their season together.
Cool story, nerd. Are we just going to completely ignore the fact that these two are asked to play on the halfway line? And they've had a couple of games where it's shit the bed.
There's not been any context to it, but Carragher's he's just trying to wind us all up, isn't he?
And it probably worked, didn't it? Let's be honest.
Because you can't say there's definitely a level increase between them two players. There's a huge level.
Yeah, that's it. That's why you want to go back to Jamie Carragher, innit, and say, okay, so what you're suggesting then is that there's been no improvement with those two, because here's the thing, right? We had, I think, Daley Blind and Chris Smalling, didn't they have like a record amount of goals conceded, like a fewest amount of goals conceded?
Yeah.
And actually, Chris Smalling looked amazing, but our entire team system was built to protect them. Like Jose Mourinho had some excellent clean shit seasons.
It's a little bit more defensive where nowadays Lindelof and Varane and Martinez are basically being asked to do a lot more with a lot less protection.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, I think it's a difficult comparison to make, but there's definitely a huge level increase. I mean, I'm going to see a huge drop off without Martinez playing, because another thing that was mentioned by Carragher that I do agree with is it's a different era in terms of what's required from centre halves in terms of their ball playing. They start every single build up for big teams. They need to be really, really good on the ball. They almost need to be as good as midfielders.
Well, this is what Rio said on. I think he might have even mentioned it. He definitely mentioned it on Tuesday, but I think they might have touched on it again in the Chelsea Real Madrid game, where they're saying that the first thing that people are saying about defenders is, oh, he's composed. He's good on the ball, yeah. Oh, he can find a pass. Whereas actually the first thing that you should be looking at is...
Can he defend?
Wes Brown said this to me when I interviewed him years ago. The first thing you got to look at when analysing a defender is how do they defend 1v1? And that's never left me that. And that's where Nemanja Vidic needs to get some absolute flowers. The whole thing that they say in terms of, like, look at what Van Dijk... Look at the impact Van Dijk had on that team. They averaged, I think, 1 point less, or 1 point in the second half of the season. They got less than what they'd got in the first half of the season that he joined. And then they signed Alisson in that summer. I think he's been an excellent defender for a couple of years. But the way it's been over-egged, he was protected in a different way. He also doesn't engage, which you might see as a positive, because he stays in the way and he slows it down. And that might be what tactically he's doing. Whereas Vidic would have smashed you.
Yeah.
But what I've enjoyed in the last couple of weeks since Carragher come out with that comment is I've been enjoying so many compilation videos of Vidic defending. And there was an excellent one that UEFA tweeted and it was Rio and Vidic, and you go, oh my good God. Like, you remember the level, and you don't actually see... Martinez is the closest you're going to see to someone doing it, where you see them throwing themselves at people inside the box to get a block on. But Martinez is the Diet Coke version of what Vidic was doing. Vidic was just... Not only was he doing it, but he was doing it and winning it as well. And there's that one, I think it's in the San Siro against AC Milan, and there's a fucking hell of a ball played towards the back post, and Vidic gets a millimetre of a toe on it. I think he takes it off Inzaghi's toe, and it's beautiful. And you just think, oh my good God, this is like the awareness, the scanning, the tenacity.
That is the old school type of defending, though, because the modern day defender is now what you're seeing from John Stones, where it's like a midfielder centre-half hybrid, because it's so important for the build-up. Because obviously Martinez, as we're talking about it, with his injury, his season is likely to be over. Gaston Edo, who's Argentinian journalist, reported Lisandro Martinez is not going to have any more studies today. Tomorrow, he will know what he has. The Achilles tendon was ruled out. Good news. He left on crutches. It could be the 5th metatarsal, and the outlook is better than expected.
Yeah, if it's the metatarsal, he's out, but he'll be back for pre-season, you think?
Yeah, it probably will be, but I worry because when we're talking about the difference in defending now in terms of you've got to be good on the ball and composed, we look a lot more vulnerable playing out anyway when Martinez isn't playing. He's better defensively than likes Maguire and Lindelof, but he's better playing out.
A lot
better. Build up miles better.
He breaks lines with the ball.
Yeah, he does.
He moves it quick.
Exactly.
He takes a minimum amount of touches. I think there's an attitude, there's an aura about him as well. I think he backs himself. I think he would fight anybody, which is not necessarily a skill set, but it's a mentality.
Definitely.
And that mentality of I will fucking batter you is a positive mentality to have.
When you thought it was the Achilles, what was your first concern? Because
I didn't think it was the Achilles. Like, I'm sitting there watching it, and Robbie Savage is just going. He mentioned the word Achilles about 17 times, and I'm thinking, he's just held the front of his boot now.
No, I thought it was Achilles straight away.
Did you?
Because I was on a watch along, and I said, when I looked at the replay, I was like, that could be his Achilles. I watch a lot of basketball, and that's usually what he does.
What goes.
He's literally no one's near him, but then he looks.
He's got his knees over toes.
But he looks behind him.
Right.
He looks behind him when no one's near him, and usually they say when your Achilles tendon goes, it feels like someone's kicked you in the back of your calf.
Right.
So when people's Achilles tendon go, they always look behind them,
right,
because it feels like they've been kicked. So that's literally exactly what Martinez done. So like, fucking hell.
That might be why people were saying Achilles. But my first instinct was, I thought metatarsal was what I think he's probably done there. The way he held the side of his foot, because I've done that one. So I was like, oh. But it could also have been an ankle. The angle that his foot was at, the only thing that makes sense is a metatarsal. But you're thinking, I don't know how he's done that. There's no impact.
Because I thought metatarsal, because I remember, didn't think he'd do his metatarsal years ago, Beckham.
That was a kick on the bottom of a boot, yeah.
So I thought metatarsal was more of an impact injury. The fact that no one was near him was the reason why I thought it was Achilles.
You can do it. So I broke mine. I rolled my ankle. So I rolled my ankle on a hike, and I strained the ligaments in my ankle, and it was that snapped one of my metatarsals. And it was the outside one, which it looks like is what Martinez has done. So you can do it from a roll of the ankle, but he didn't really go over on his ankle either. So
it just looked bang on like an Achilles, and I'm glad it isn't, because one of the things is, if it was, it's like 9 months, 10 months out usually.
An Achilles is a bad one.
It's a bad one, and it's one of them where you come back and you might not necessarily be the same. But one question I wanted to pitch to you was, if Martinez did have an Achilles, and he was out for that long, would that have prolonged or saved Maguire's career in the summer for United? That was one of my worries.
It depends on what the manager's opinion of him is, because he'll have a public opinion of him and a private opinion of him. And the public opinion of him might be maintain his value, don't say anything dodgy. And let's say hypothetically they go, Martinez is going to be out for 9 months. They go, well, I've got an £80 million centre half as backup, so we'll be fine. That might be what he says publicly, whilst also trying to sell him.
Yeah.
Now he also might say, okay, that's just give me the green light to go and get Kim Min-jae.
But the way of getting Kim Min Jae was meant to be like funds wise, was the sale of Maguire.
Yeah, and he still might do that. But then there's a dance to be played. So if you sell Maguire for 40, 50 million, which you're mental if you take less than that, but it's hard to argue he's worth that or more.
I think that's asking a lot.
Yeah, but you're in a real sticky situation. You're going to lose money on him. How much are you willing to lose on him? That's the question. You can't sell Maguire before you get Kim Min Jae, because then you're going to be left with potentially like just Lindelof and Varane.
Because Lindelof, they want to sell Lindelof. Eric Bayer's probably going to go.
Yeah.
I think if Martinez was out for that long, you'd unfortunately see Maguire likely staying.
Yeah, maybe you do, but maybe they've already agreed a deal, and they just haven't announced it yet. That's possible too. But I think you can't sell Maguire until you'd already boxed off a Kim Min Jae coming. So that's the thing with transfers, especially when you're dealing with like replacing first team players that are still here.
Yeah.
You've kind of got to go and do the dirty on everybody, behind everyone's back, get that all in place, and then be like, okay, he can go. So there's a chain involved. You're going to bring him in once you can get rid of him, but you can't bring him in until you've got rid of him. But then you don't announce any of them. And that's why you also see clubs like wait till the very, 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 very last minute to announce. Because think of this, right? Let's say United do a mad sale and we go, bosh, everyone's getting sold, and we still don't know who our owner is, by the way, so we have no idea what our funds are going to be for the summer. You sell loads of players, and then all of the
Joe had something interesting to say on that, though. No matter what your owner is, it does financial fair play wise, it doesn't mean you can just come in and spend what you want.
No, but apparently there's ways around it if you believe City. Anyway, don't get me off the point. The point I'm making here is
that was on the point.
If ever, it's not. That's not the point I'm making. Yeah. If you sell tons of players, there's a desperation to bring players in that everyone's going to be aware of. Okay. So whereas if you go to go and get Kim Min Jae and you go, well, we think he's like a rotational sort of centre half. We've already got Maguire, we've got Lindelof, we've got Varane. Martinez will be back. You know what I mean? He's not our saviour. Yeah. Whereas if Martinez is out for a long time, you've already sold Maguire, you've already sold Lindelof, you've only got Varane as a first team. Yeah, and you go, can we get Kim Min Jae? And they go, 100 million. And you go, oh, we're going to have to pay it because we've got no one else in, and they know that. So you've got to play a bit of poker. You've got to be a bit of misdirection.
There's no chance we're paying 100 mil for Kim Min Jae, though.
But do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. But
it's like the same with a striker. United go and talk to anybody about buying their striker this year, and they just go 100 million. I haven't even started talking yet, and they go 100 million. We know you need a striker, so pay up.
Exactly.
And then you got to go and play poker.
Exactly. If it's obvious that you've got a significant need there, then they're just going to have much more of the leverage. But it being a metatarsal instead of an Achilles, it's still not great, but it's miles better because it means that we at least have him.
It's bad if we lose him till the end of the season, because I think you will. You don't usually come back from that.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen it when the likes of Beckham and Rooney have had it. Was Rooney's ahead of the World Cup? I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, I remember that one.
Was it World Cup 2006?
Yes.
And Beckham's was World Cup 2002.
Yeah, I think Rooney was flying at the time as well.
Yeah.
Just came at a bit of an awkward time, but metatarsal.
Yeah, Beckham and Rooney was a similar sort of thing where they did it like this time of year, spring, and they both had to try and get ready.
Do you think these injuries are knocked down to burnout? Because I know you got opinions on the fixtures.
No, not with a metatarsal. I think it's just unlucky. Something hit you. Varane's could be. Varane's is weird. Me and Joe spoke about this on my review last night. Is Varane seems to be being managed quite a bit. He's missing out of a game. He's in a game, and this seems like
that is why I told you that Kim Min Jae in the summers would have been good anyway, because obviously you had this theory of it being like having three centre halves on a similar level. I don't see that as a bad thing when you've got a Varane who's not going to play week in, week out, especially the amount of games that we can have.
Yeah,
I feel like you do need a third centre half around the same level where the drop off's not huge.
If you do, I actually think you probably need in a squad 14 or 15 first choice players, which doesn't make any sense.
Possible.
No, I mean like first choice. Like City, I'm fit and I play.
Yeah, City have them.
Yeah, but I think you probably need you can't have 20.
No, you can't.
You can't have 2 11s that all think they should play.
Can't have too many. Yeah, that's Chelsea.
But you can have so let's say you had 3 centre halves, but then you go, okay, when everyone is fit, who plays? And your argument to that might be, well, when's that? When is everyone truly fit? There should be a hierarchy. But yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Hang on. Our buffer's down, so I'm just going to tweet the video.
And then you've got Bruno out for the second leg next week. But the only beneficial thing about Bruno being out for next is probably a little bit of rest. From what I saw from Sevilla last night, I think United have enough to beat them without him. And we might have Varane, Shaw and Rashford back by the Sevilla game next week. But I was kind of debating this with Chris earlier. It's like, if you've got this Europa League, we've got FA Cup, we've got top 4 that we need before the end of the season. What would the audience kind of rank it in importance? Would you put the top 4 first? Would you put FA Cup first? Would you put Europa League in there? It's a bit of an interesting one because I think United are at a position now with the squad looking a little bit thin, with games coming thick and fast. There might have to be a little bit of prioritising. Are you prioritising the league and top 4?
We haven't had a chance
FA
to
Cup,
prioritise
Europa
yet,
League.
Really, have we? We've just got to sort of deal with every game. You got to prioritise top 4
because
that's what you judged on.
But there's a good point that Chris made in terms of there's 9 league games left.
Is it that many?
Yes, that many. And he was saying there's 4 Europa League Cup games left. And both prizes are Champions League football. But you what?
Yeah, it's not likely to come down to the one game. There's wiggle room in the league. You could lose the next 3 and still qualify by winning the next 6. But if you lose 3, you're done. If you lose 1, you're done.
Because I feel like I do get the vibe, because I'm a bit like it where I don't get the whole like, I don't get up hugely for the Europa League. I'm not like, I think I prefer the FA Cup. Do you know what I mean? But Europa League has probably the bigger prize in terms of Champions League football. But I think we definitely need to finish top 4. I'd be gutted if we don't.
Unfortunately, because it's my favourite out of the 3.
Yeah.
Finishing 4th or 3rd. Not the Premier League, obviously, but like just securing top 4, I don't consider a trophy, but I do consider it a requirement. The FA Cup is my favourite competition, but unfortunately, the rewards for winning the FA Cup are insignificant compared to finishing 3rd in the league.
Well, you get to stop City probably winning
a treble.
Or treble.
Yeah, or you get fucking battered at Wembley.
Would you rather not make the final than get
No,
beat by
I
them
want
in
to go. I want to go.
Then
It'll be just be minging. It'll be absolutely disgusting.
It would be disgusting.
It'll be absolutely disgusting. Minging.
Because the FA Cup is definitely one up from. He's definitely up from the Carabao Cup.
Yeah, of course it is.
There's a different vibe and feeling to it, and
but it's below the Champions League.
I think
it's probably below the Europa League on the fact of that you get. If you got Champions League qualifications for the FA Cup, be the FA Cup, and I don't know why they don't do that. Make the league more interesting. Give the 4th place to the FA Cup winner.
Because the FA Cup's got nothing riding on it.
Europa.
You just get Europa qualification. This is what I mean, because I think the Europa League we'd be putting out reserves in that if it weren't for the fact that if we won it, we might get Champions League football. Because I think it's one of the biggest season derailers anyway, managing the Europa League, which is one of the main reasons why we need top 4. Because I think with the new recruits we're going to get in the summer, players that we get out, I think we go into next season very optimistic of at least challenging and being really strong, or trying to make a little bit of a run in the Champions League. And I think if we're in the Europa League next season, you're playing on Thursdays, Sundays, it's just, I feel like it just sets you back.
It sets you back, but also for us creating content around them, it's so fucking awkward in doing it in this sort of manner. And it kills our weekends, obviously. We play on a Saturday. There's a benefit to that, because it means we get to watch the games. Yeah. We play on a Saturday, United play on a Sunday. Sweet. But in reality, it's a fucking nightmare.
It's just, Champions League football is just better. It's just where we're at. And we want to get back to that stage of making the quarters and semi-finals of the Champions League.
Lil Yo-Yo says Champions League 40 for winning the FA Cup. Why? Winning the FA Cup is a better achievement than coming 4th. If there was no fucking Champions League football for coming 4th, why would coming 4th be a better achievement than winning a cup?
Yeah.
You can't make that argument. And Joe, here's the thing, right? I think each country gets to decide how it distributes its qualifications. I think the FA could award a Champions League place for that if they wanted to. But there's like a precedent that everyone's gone, oh no, the cup winners get Europa. I think they could do that if they wanted to. It's on them how they distribute it.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know. In my opinion, I'm thinking
Imagine what it does to the FA Cup though.
Nah, top four is what I want. Top four, what I want. But the only thing is,
you get all your teams outside the top 6 going, hang on. I could get Champions League football next year. Yes.
Yeah, but then what if a Championship team wins it?
But they're in the fucking Champions League then, aren't they? All right, and that's probably why they don't do it.
That's exactly why they don't do it.
Because the coefficients will probably take a battering when fucking Burnley turn up at the Burnabout.
Or Sheffield United.
Get fucking one arrowed.
Exactly, Sheffield United.
Yeah, or Sheffield United.
Champions League next season. That's definitely why they don't do it.
The FA Cup would be fucking unreal, wouldn't it? And they wouldn't be playing fixtures on that day again, because that pisses me off. On FA Cup final day, why are we still playing league fixtures? It's nonsense.
Yeah, exactly. But I think it's a money thing as well. Champions League football is just better, but it also allows us to flex our spending power a little bit more in the summer. Because that's another big thing.
If we've had a good summer, if we've had a good season, and it finishes nice, and we finish inside the Champions League and pick up one more trophy, what a fucking season we've had. And you're in the Champions League next year, and you've got new owners that are prepared to splash a bit of cash out, yeah, it'll be a good summer all round.
Yeah, definitely.
Listen, we need to talk about balls. Are you looking after your balls? Spring is in the air and it's time to spruce up your grooming routine with Manscaped, the experts in below the waist care. Say goodbye to unruly hair and hello to a confident new you with Performance Package 4.0. Inside, you'll find everything you need for the ultimate ball care experience, including the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer with advanced skin-safe technology and an LED light for precision trimming in any lighting. But that's not all. The Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer with proprietary skin-safe technology helps reduce nicks and tugs, while a Crop Preserver ball deodorant and Crop Reviver ball toner keep you smelling fresh all day long. And with the added bonus of the performance, boxer briefs and a travel bag, you'll be ready to tackle any adventure life throws your way. So why wait? Upgrade your grooming game and join the 8 million men who trust Manscaped. Use the code XG20 at manscaped.com. Get 20% off and free shipping. Trust us, your balls will thank you. Right, here's what some of you guys are saying in the comments. Lil Yo-Yo says, that's my point. If you got lower league teams in there, everyone would get a battering. Yeah, but they've earned it.
Do you know
it's only like
Arsenal
are going to win the league.
Yeah,
for fuck's sake.
It's fucking interesting because Samuel Ingram says we're in Europa League and the FA Cup. It would be mad though if we actually win the FA Cup, still win the Europa League and finish top 4. That's our own treble.
I mean, it's the Mickey Mouse treble the Scousers did in 2001, isn't it?
Yeah.
That we took the piss out of. But we only took the piss out of it because it was 2 years from us doing the unprecedented treble that no one's managed to do in 24 years since. Although Manchester City have got a possibility of doing it. And by the way, I think we need to start putting pressure on these, because these blue twats have skated through the entire season. They signed a cyborg who scores all the goals, right? They're behind Arsenal in the league. Them bastards can do a treble. And no one's talking about it. Not one person's talking about it. They're favourites for the Champions League.
Everyone's talking about it.
No one's talking about
Everyone's talking about the treble.
No one's talking about
Every United fan is talking about
That's
the concern.
United fans.
Where's
the media pressure? Where's the media pressure that this bald twat's going to fuck this up if he doesn't win? If he don't win everything, has he fucked it up? Are they favourites for the Champions League?
Yeah.
Are they favourites for the league?
Not anymore.
They actually are favourites for the league.
Still?
Yeah, and all of the Opta sort of predictor computers have still got them winning it by like 2%. It's very close, but City are still the favourites for it. And they're obviously favourites for the FA Cup because we've got no fucking team. Fucking Brighton are probably more likely to win it than we are. Why is no one talking about how Manchester City have to do this treble? Let's put some fucking pressure on them. Fuck them. No one's talking about them. If this was United, you'd not be able to move for the fucking constant boom of treble.
It's true, but us United fans have been very aware of it.
Yeah, but where's the media?
Because we don't.
Where's the talk sport talking about it? You don't do fucking numbers, do you? So don't talk about it.
That's what's about. It's Man City. That's basically the bottom line. It's Man City.
What's the cow analogy that's
so really, it's fuck all to talk about them. Have you not? Do you not see the YouTube videos about Bayern fans that went to Etihad and vlogged it, and they came back and said it's the worst atmosphere they've ever experienced at that level.
Well, colour me shocked.
I saw.
And he's still going to boo the anthem when they fucking win it.
I saw like 5 YouTube videos of
you caught us cheating, boo! Fuck off.
of Bayern fans literally saying, like, they were surprised at how bad it was.
The last time Bayern came to United, it was a sick atmosphere. Remember when Danny Welbeck fucked it up for us?
Was that the Iron Robin volley off the corner?
Was it? It was the one where the return leg was where Evra scored. And about 7 seconds later, we were out.
Oh, fuck.
But the home game was fucking noisy. I was still sat in K-stand then, and it was noisy. And you got all the Germans in the away end.
The Germans.
The Germans, yeah.
But
no one says no one talks about small clubs. Yeah, but you've got Arsenal potentially winning the league and City going for a treble, and no one's talking about anything else. What are they talking about? United. I know we're in a bit of a United echo chamber, but fucking hell. Jack says, remember when Carragher did a combined 11 with a treble team and a Liverpool team that hadn't won the league? They was talking about this Liverpool team, by the way, because it was August this season, so last year, August 2022. They was talking about it being the best Liverpool team in history. Not Klopp's best Liverpool team, but the best Liverpool team in history.
Listen, Liverpool, you always feel like I can't slander them too much, but I actually don't think I have an ounce of love left for them.
Good.
That makes you happy, doesn't it?
Yeah. Did you have any other offers?
At that time, when I signed for Liverpool as an academy player, I think I was doing my very best the previous 2 years of trying to sign for United. I think I had one trial there. They'd been watching me, but they just didn't fancy me.
Who's the same age? What years? Who's the same
and
age as you at United? Who's 98 births? Not Axel.
Loads. Callum Gribbin, Roshan Williams, Tyrell Warren, Zach Durnley.
It's a good age group, to be fair.
Very good age group.
That Eddie Barlow and that as well.
They're very good age group, but they did get. We had a better than most times. I think what happened at United is they have a lot of their best players play up a lot, don't they? So it ends up leaving.
I think United also will fucking shit can an entire age group for one kid to make it.
Yeah, they're a little bit. I think United as an academy, from what I remember, they're literally all about. They're not really about winning games. They're all about development. Yeah, like player development and like pathways.
I heard something recently is that so City signed like 100, 200 kids in age group, just farming of kids, trying to find that. Like if you've played football in Manchester between 8 and fucking 16, you've been on trial at City because they just fucking get you through the system, so they've got a record on you. Whereas United's like attitude is trying to find the new Rooney or Ronaldo, and if they don't think, oh, this kid could be as good as Rooney or Ronaldo, they just don't sign you. So United are signing like a squad at every age group, just a single squad at every age group, and then they've got. You heard of the emerging talent squads? Nope. So. City have got like 200 players, and then the City Select, which is every other fucker that they're keeping an eye on, and then sometimes they'll get called in to come and play games in a City shirt. Yeah, Jadon did a bit of that. Then you've got United have got the emerging talent. So what would they do with the emerging talent is, so you was Fletcher Moss, right? Yes. Fletcher Moss is the prime example of a team that they would use this with. So instead of you signing for United and not being allowed to play for Fletcher Moss, you become part of their emerging talent squad, and you still get to play for Fletcher Moss, you still get to play for school, and you still get to develop and hang out with your friends because they don't think you're going to be Rooney Ronaldo level. I used to train at the Cliff. I was like when they had that thing where you could train at the Cliff but you were unsigned, and it was just kind of, they just kept a watchful eye. Yeah. And that's literally, I went through that. So United had their opportunities. I always wanted, growing up as a big United fan, I wanted to play for United. Of course, yeah. They just never wanted me. And Liverpool did. They gave me a chance. That's a tough conversation, though, isn't it? It's like Liverpool just... Do you know what it is? At that level, if you're a young footballer and you're in academy football and you get an opportunity to try and make it, you can't say no. No, but Liverpool's a rough one, isn't it? You think, there's no one else coming in. At first, I was like, it's far away, and I was like, oh, Liverpool. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was United through and through, and I was like, I got to obviously take up the opportunity. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't no regrets about it. It was a fucking great experience. No, I'm pretty sure if you had the options on the table, but the option on the table is that one, isn't it? Exactly, got to play all over Europe. Got crazy experiences. Played with some great players. And Trent. I played with
Steve's favourite player for 5 years in my age group. Trent Alexander-Arnold. Steve refuses to rate, but obviously it's just cold. I can never slander him.
That's fine. You know him.
Because I know him, played with him for years, and actually know that he's a fucking good player. But he just, obviously, at the level he is, defensively, he just looks a little bit shoddy, doesn't he?
I found this out yesterday, right? So there's a guy that we know that's played for Paddock and has done some one-to-one stuff with us called Jan, right? He's a coach that works with, tons of players. Angel Gomez did one-to-ones with him and a shitload of others. I can't even remember the amount of players that were with him. But shout out to Jan, he's a good guy. He shares all these stories, all these players that he's worked with. He's working with the likes of Malacia and people like that, and he's doing one-to-ones here, there and everywhere. And then I seen on his story yesterday, he's got like a little compilation video, which he shares, like if it's someone he's worked with. I said, oh, you work with Jeremy Frimpong? He went, nah, he's my little brother. I was like, oh shit. So, and then you mentioned, obviously he grew up in Manchester, is kind of in the same friendship group.
Yeah, he's got mutuals.
Do we think these are factors that are playing into the fact that Frimpong could become a United
100%, obviously. I feel like it's a huge factor for a lot of players, isn't it? Just playing closer to home. Just wanting to go back to Manchester.
So he's born in Amsterdam?
He's already got
But he's got family that live here?
Yeah, he got family that live here. He played here for years as a Man City academy player. I think, even beyond that, just think if United want to sign you a young player, it's just a shoo-in. Yeah,
so
do you know what I mean?
That shocked me that yesterday. I was like, Ross, no way.
You'd be surprised. Chris Rice says, could I take my light back? He didn't want me playing for United. Bastard.
So Ronaldo dipped in on comms. We might have Nosa on comms this week.
You'd love that.
We know he'd love that, which is why we're going to probably have a go of it. But it was Ronaldo on commentary.
He's Irish. How old is he? Like 15 or something?
Yo, prioritise Saturday football for when I can get my hair done once a month. Do you know what I mean? That's not how the world works at this level of football. Do you know what? I don't think I should be slandered too much for that. The big deal about that was apparently me disrespecting Cheshire League football for my haircut and then saying that this level of football I can't prioritise it.
I saw loads of comments going.
Ed said, Ronaldo, you play with my mate Herbie Kane. I did play with Herbie Kane.
At Liverpool.
I know
that name.
Herbie Kane came from, we signed him from Bristol City. Basically, Herbie Kane there's an age group at my age for Bristol City with like a bit of a golden team for them. And they had two of their biggest stars was Herbie Kane and Jacob Maddox. Liverpool signed Herbie Kane and Chelsea signed Jacob Maddox from Bristol City. I remember I went to play, I think I spent 6 hours travelling down to Bristol City to play a game against their under 16s and age up. And they were absolutely sick. I think we got beat like 3-1. We're like, Bristol City, this good. And them two were insane in midfield. And I think that was literally it. We watched that game, was like, sign him. But yeah, played with Herbie Kane. Jan Dander. A lot of ballers. Coaches as well. With one on a weekend. Steve Cooper.
What, he got him from Bristol?
No, he coached.
Oh, right.
He was my under-14s coach.
Yeah, how was that? So Ronnie's under-14s coach is obviously Nottingham Forest, now first-team manager.
Steve Coop. My under-16 manager was Michael Beale. The manager's QPR now. He managed Rangers.
Is he at Rangers now?
Yeah, he's at Rangers now.
He left QPR, didn't he?
Yeah. I also was coached by...
Wasn't he supposed to be the brains behind everything Gerrard was doing?
Yeah, he's a sick coach. I'd probably say Michael Beale's my best coach I've ever had.
Tactically or the sessions
everything.
He puts on?
Technical, tactical, insane coach. I'm not surprised he is where he is. I'm not surprised if he'd be the brains behind Gerrard, if I'm honest.
What I was going to say. So loads of the comments was like, Steve's dropping Ronaldo because he's late, like Eric Ten Hag.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the case. What's our rules?
It was if you're late, you don't start. Simple as.
Yeah, and if you're late without a text, then you don't play. And these were team rules. So we had a team meeting at the start of the season, and we put together a load of rules that govern everything that the players do. So it was, we basically had the players write their own rules, and we just like sort of jotted them down. The players came up with the rules. So before Ten Hag dropped Marcus and brought attention to players getting dropped for being late, these was our club rules from June last year, and it was player led. Because we'd had issues not the previous seasons where people are late, and look, if someone's late, it's a bit different when you play for Manchester United and it's your job. We get players frequently late because players are sometimes working right up until they have to leave to come play. Traffic is an issue. So you have all of those sort of factors go into it. But the one thing that pisses everyone off is if you're just not aware of what's going on. If you, like Ronnie told me, I'm running a bit late, but then he wasn't there for the start of the warm-up, and that's my cut-off. If you can get into the team talk, then you're not really that late, are you?
Yeah, I literally was, I think, what was it, like 10, 15 minutes before kick-off I turn up.
Yeah, so you can't play. And here's the other thing, right? The referee wants the team sheet.
Yeah, he does.
I can't give a team sheet with someone on it that's not even in the fucking building. So like, it's not just it's not just a factor of doing it to sort of set a discipline sort of attitude out. You practically can't fucking give a team sheet in. But yeah, I kept him off till half time for being late. But that was the rest of it was because that's our club rules.
And I need to get my hair done.
And he needs to get his hair done.
Nah, but someone says, did you ever see Marcus or Ravel at Fletcher Moss? I actually didn't know. Did never see them. Ravel Morrison's quite a bit older than me, correct. Ed said the Bristol City team was insane. Yeah, you do get some teams like that where they have there's some academies where they're not like well known and they have like an age group or two that every now and again that's just ridiculous. My age group, West Brom, were the exact same as that. Around my age group, they had a really, really good team. They had Jan Dander, and then you had the likes of like Jerome Sinclair and Izzy J. Brown.
You get a couple of clubs that have got a knack for producing talented youngsters coming through. West Ham have always had a little bit of a thing.
Yeah, West Ham, West Brom's are definitely one of them because I think he was at West Brom, weren't he? Harvey Elliott, I believe.
Yeah, I think he was. Yeah,
Harvey Elliott. I think Harvey Barnes. There's like a few players. There's just always a few academies from like they're very, very good at producing players.
Jack says, would you ever let the Glazers buy Paddock? They can't. They just can't. As simple as they can't. The club is fan owned. So last year we decided to make the club fan owned. So the club
Shout
is
out Thomas
fan
Silicus.
We've not delivered what I wanted us to deliver because there's been delays on an app. So the guy that's making the app is doing it for free because he works as an app developer in Manchester, and he's only ever going to have a junior app developer job unless he can branch out and do some stuff himself. So he approached us and said, I can make this app. And that was where we go, okay, well, this sort of fits in with where we want to go with the fan ownership thing. We'll conduct all of our fan ownership sort of admin via this app. And then he got a guy in to help him that was doing the Android stuff. He does the Apple stuff. And the guy's just fucking ghosted on him.
Yeah.
So we've had some issues with that. Like we had thousands basically stolen off us from a guy that was meant to be doing a website for us. Just fucking took the money and bounced. So I ended up having to figure out how to do the website myself. So you see that current website, I did it in a weekend. We should have some news very, very soon. He said it might be ready for this weekend, but there is approval processes that it's going through at Apple. So we got to wait. I think he said he managed to submit one the other day. It only took 2 hours for it to get back. So we are hopeful that by the end of this weekend, it might be Sunday, it might be Monday. I don't know if bank holidays matter for this sort of stuff. I have no idea. I've never fucking launched an app before. But we should have our app soon, and I'll be delighted to get it out before the end of the season because I feel disappointed that we've not managed to get this app out before the end of the season. We have started taking votes on stuff, and I've got a stack of stuff for us to vote on, massive. And some of it I'll be putting through the app because there's going to be like multiple choices and there's going to be like an and then element to it. So for example, one of the next things that we will be voting on is going to be sponsorship ethics. So you think it's quite clean, yeah?
Yeah.
Should we allow gambling companies? Now the Premier League's actually just announced this. I wanted to do this last year, but we've obviously not had the facility to do it. Premier League just announced that front of shirt gambling sponsorship is not going to be allowed in the Premier League. It's still going to be allowed at every other level. But I'm happy to take gambling sponsorships myself for this channel because, well, I'm a 39-year-old man and I believe in personal responsibility. But for the football club, I don't necessarily think that's the case. So one of the things I wanted to put out to the fans was sponsorship ethics, which is, should we as a football club take gambling sponsorship money? My personal feeling is no. But I want to know what our fan base thinks, what our audience thinks. And my personal feeling on it is because we are a junior academy.
Yep.
or that's letting a cat out of the bag, we will be from June. We will have juniors playing for us. And right now we've got a couple of adult teams. Fast forward to 5 years from now, we're probably going to have 700-800 juniors and a couple of adult teams. So we will go from being an adult football club to a junior football club with an adult team. So I think whatever our home shirt is, I should have the same home shirt for my under-7s as my first team. So if I've got Big Titty's pole dancing fucking titty bar, right, as our main shirt sponsor, is that an appropriate sponsor for us to have for our under-7s? Yeah? You might argue, for a Saturday men's team, that's not an issue. All right, it might not be tasteful, but it's not necessarily an issue. What are our thingies for our under-7s? So at the moment, we have one football. I've got no problems with one football being first team all the way down through into the under-7s. And the people that we are talking to, there's a gaming related one that we're talking to, and it would be perfect for us to go from first team right the way through. There are analysis and tracking device things that we could be talking to, and they will go all the way through. But our energy drinks are a grey area. Is alcohol a grey area? Yeah, so is alcohol you might think is clean, and you go, no. Well, obviously, if you've got kids, you should say, no, okay, well, what about the zero? Is the non-alcoholic version of that brand acceptable for us to promote? These are the things that we've got to get into with our fan base, and I'm really, really looking forward to doing it. And getting into that. We want to introduce junior pricing for our memberships. We want to know your thoughts on us introducing a women's team. All of these sorts of things are going in the mixer with it.
All right.
So yeah,
that'll be interesting. But that is all very interesting. Do I get to vote?
Yeah. So one of the things that we did was make all of our players members as well.
Yeah, I look forward to voting. But before we go, I'm gonna go. I'll answer Carl Chester's question. So upset, Chris. Ronnie, who is the best player you played with or against that didn't make it? If I say both, best player I've played with that didn't make it is Anas Abdul, who I played with at Liverpool. He was he was ridiculous, and he didn't make it. He was basically 2-footed, fast, strong. He had everything. He was actually the only player I've ever seen where, when he struck the ball, when people strike the ball and it's got that sound and it's got that swivel and almost knuckleball to it, he did it off both feet. But both sides, right or left, he hit it, it stayed hit.
There's only two players that I've seen up close that have come down to play with us. Who've had Omar's closest to having it in the squad, but there's only two players who've hit a ball and I've gone, Joe, because there's like you said, there's a sound, isn't there, when someone gets it just bang on. Isaac's got it, his hitting of a ball, and Stan. And
but this guy was doing it both feet.
Yeah, I was going to say they doing it one foot.
But he would dribble both feet as well. He was an insane player, and he was quick. He was strong. He had everything. The fact he didn't make it still baffles me to this day. Played against though, probably it's a different one because sometimes players make it, but they don't make it the way you think they did. I think Will Patchin, Callum Gribbin, players like that I've played against.
Yeah, they're still playing football, but they're not playing Prem or Championship.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? But yeah, there's an answer to that one.
Emmett in the comments says, if you could discuss what our price is like for shirt sponsors, we have to keep a competitive advantage. So things like that, like we are going to be releasing our accounts to all our members to show where the money that we raise goes, what the cost of running the club is, and all those sorts of things. But you have to maintain a competitive advantage on certain things. So there'll be things that are a bit more confidential. What we're asking of sponsors is, we don't have a set price. It's not like Tesco. You can't just walk in and just take this off the shelf, because the things that we would do for One Football might not be the same things that we do for Puma. The things that we do for our sleeve sponsor or maybe Whoop or someone are not necessarily the same or as we would do with, let's say, Red Bull came and asked us to do something. Like every single activity and activation that we do at a sponsor, because we're not a traditional football team in the sense of where people can go, oh, you've got X number of people coming through the door, or you get seen on TV X number of times. It's just different. So it's a bit more like a YouTube channel in terms of how the sponsorships work. It's on sign-ups or views and things like that. So it's not necessarily the same. Any current players whose style I would compare Ronaldo's playing style with?
Do you know I've tried to do that for years, and one of my mates tried to do it, and no one can think of a real player comparison.
I would say, nah.
I remember a year ago I said it, and because Thingy knows him, he was like, no. Because I thought I had a tiny bit of Damari Gray. But Damari Gray is much more potent of a striker of the ball. He's a fucking lethal shooter of the ball.
Right, if I had to explain him, he is... I think in our first season, we didn't record stats last year, and we haven't done it this year to this level, although I can get them. What? Dribbling, he don't get tackled. He gets fouled, don't get tackled. But he holds on to it too long. When he does penetrate into the box, there's very often an assist on there. He's pretty good at creating chances for others. Never takes a fucking shot. Like, I would say the dribbling, if I said Sterling, people would think it's because you run like T-Rex, but you don't run like T-Rex. But there's that sort of central dribble a bit like Sterling.
It's hard, you know, because a lot of people have a claim. It's hard to think of one for me.
Yeah, I
thought maybe a bit of Damari, a bit of young Martial.
I would say at the moment probably a bit of Sancho. Wants it to feet too much, won't go in behind, isn't scoring or creating enough, and has turned up late maybe.
Sancho's on a different level to me.
Right, anyway, cheers for tuning in. Go check out Manscaped. And if you're interested in getting involved with Stretford Paddock, we will be turning the memberships back on soon. We had to turn them off so you couldn't become a member while we was doing this whole activation with the app. So that's going to be starting again real soon. But I've seen a couple of you saying that you like what we're saying in terms of the sponsorship ethics. But we are making this club together. Yeah. So just hang fire. You'll be able to get involved in all of that very soon. But I did bring that up to talk about, actually, we was hoping to be able to give you the final 3 today. In terms of the shirts that you guys have voted for. So all the current members have been voting, and we've eliminated 2 of the 5 shirts that we put to you. I might wait to do that in the app and have that as the first thing that we finalise in the app. So I hoped it was going to be today. Probably isn't going to be today, but it probably is going to be next week. So keep an eye out for that. Cheers for tuning in. See you in the next one. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, 5-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.